filled with liberals and identity politics in a time where people are being manipulated by the media. This is that moment when we need smart, intelligent, black conservatives coming to a theater near you. The League of Intelligent Black People.
Are you on the investment treadmill? You know, saving cash for retirement. Well, guess what? Whatever you're saving will not be worth much when you retire. Cash is trash. You have to make your money work for you. You might have all the money you need, but maybe you're not using it right. You're probably relying on stocks or mutual funds when really you need to diversify. Open a gold IRA, for instance, gives you an instant cash injection and gets your returns soaring. With gold likely to go to $2,500 an ounce this year, it is a perfect time. And that's some boost, eh? If you feel like this could be the answer for you, call the team at Noble Gold. Take out a qualified IRA this month, and they will gift a solid gold 22 karat, 1/10 ounce American Eagle bullion coin. Visit our site now at www.noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com for the American Eagle offer. Now let's get back to the video. What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And yeah, man, I'm about to go ahead and give y'all a montage, okay, of some of the most intelligent black folks in our country. And see, there's a lot of things you got to take in consideration when you talk about intelligence. You know, it's not just about book smarts. Because I see a lot of eggheads running around with all types of PhDs and stuff, but no common sense. So we talking about some common sense. We talking about some character. We talking about knowledge of your subjects. You know, not just throwing stuff out there, not just winging it. No, not like the liberals. They just wing stuff. Not basing your arguments on emotions, but instead researching the facts and using a lot of practicality when you come to your argument, your conclusion, not being manipulated and buying into the liberal narratives, the media, and the stereotypes that all black folks support Democrats and so on and so forth. And one of the main ingredients when it comes down to being an intelligent black person in America today is bravery. Yeah, man. You can't be no softcore black conservative nowadays because the heat is on. They don't like this type of stuff, man. They want black folks that are conservatives to be quiet, passive, and sit back and let these narratives just fly. But the worst thing to destroy those narratives are conservative black folks. Thus, the League of Intelligent Black Folks in America. Now, of course, you know, I'm going to throw myself in there, you know what I'm saying? But right now, it ain't Kevin time. It's time to show y'all the real heroes outside of me. Okay, let's get it.
People can easily throw out and cast aspersions about a particular opinion here or there. But I think what you try to do is you do your job in a way where you know that you have applied the law in a fair way. You know, some years ago, a court that I really enjoyed being on was the one that was when the composition that was together for over 11 years with Justice Souter and O'Connor and Stevens. And one of the things that one of my colleagues with whom I rarely agreed said, Clarence, you are consistent. And I think that that is whether you're baseball or a referee in basketball, call it the same way. Just call it the same way for both sides, and you can live with that.
Dr. Ben Carson is with us. Your initial reaction first as a medical doctor to these reports we've been reporting on, and we have our investigative report from the border tonight, the perilous journey of these unaccompanied minors. Now that they're seeing them, now they're reporting these atrocities are happening. Your reaction as a medical doctor, sir?
Well, having spent almost my entire professional career dealing with children and the issues of children, obviously it breaks my heart to see these children being treated this way. And I don't know that anybody really cares that much. You know, they're being used as pawns like so many of us are being used in this effort to divide this country. You know, I think it's going at a very macro level. You have to remember about 60 years ago, Nikita Khrushchev said, your children's children will live under communism and we won't have to fire a shot. You know, what was he talking about? He was talking about the ability to gain control of our educational system so you can indoctrinate the kids, gain control of the media so that you could spoon feed the people only what you wanted them to hear, exclude the things you didn't want them to hear. He was talking about replacing God and confidence in God with government. He was talking about raising the debt to such incredible levels that you could justify massive taxation, redistribution of wealth, and complete control by the government. We need to wake up. We need to go back and read some of the stuff that was going on decades ago when people were predicting what was going to happen, and we need to thwart it. And the best way to thwart it is to recognize that this is the United States of America.
Well, let me ask you
and we have to recognize those who are trying to divide us.
Herschel Walker, are you considering a run for the U.S. Senate from the state of Georgia?
Well, I'm honored that they keep saying that if I'm considering it. And as I told everyone, guys, I'm weighing my options. But I can promise you this, and this is probably what the pollster have seen, that if I run, I'm running to win. Because right now what's going on in this country is absolutely, absolutely terrible. I believe in God, I believe in country, and I believe in family. And I can tell you all Americans are my family. It is sad that people are not standing up for the law. I believe in law and order. I hate to tell everyone out there this country was built on that. I'm tired of hearing about Black America, white America, Asian America, Hispanic America. This is the United States of America, and we got to get back to that. We got to get leaders in Washington that believe in that, and that's how we're going to fix this here.
You probably didn't hear about it because there weren't police-involved shootings, and it wasn't a white person shooting a black person. So it doesn't really make national news as it should, but I'm gonna go ahead and let you know, okay? So in Baltimore City over the weekend, 10 people were shot. 3 ended in fatalities. Shout out to all of the doctors at shock trauma, the first responders, you are appreciated. Now, one of those 7 people happened to be a 5-year-old. He wasn't hanging outside. He was doing what any 5-year-old would be doing, taking a bath in his home around 10 p.m. at night. His mother was giving him a bath. His sister was also in the bathroom. The bullet comes through his house and hits him in the arm. The mom jumps in action, gets her son some help, and she says to the reporters, I am afraid to live here. But can she afford to move? I don't know. I didn't talk to the lady. I don't know her. But that's a thing, right? As we see people like Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and others asking to defund the police. That's why those people are straight up idiots, okay? Now, this 5-year-old, luckily he is going to survive. How on earth could this have happened? Mayor Brandon Scott, Baltimore City's mayor, he puts out on Twitter, as he does every week, I hope someone comes forward. We need to find out who did this. This is unacceptable. He tweets this like every week. So if you don't follow him on Twitter, please do, just so you can see that weekly tweet. But in the tweet, he goes, because someone was being reckless, a 5-year-old was hit by a stray bullet. Reckless. This is the problem, ladies and gentlemen, right? Our leaders, quote unquote, don't even take this seriously. This wasn't someone being reckless. This is a criminal engaging in criminal activity.
You know, after the January 6th Capitol Hill riots, Democrats suddenly have discovered law and order. They no longer want to defund the police.
Donald J. Trump called for the insurrection against the United States of America.
You talked about Al-Qaeda. What has he done in terms of incitement, right, that Osama bin Laden didn't do?
Each of these people should be shamed, and they're going to go back, you know, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at.
The way that we in the media speak about this is so important.
Today was terrorism.
We call them terrorists.
Terrorists. Domestic terrorists.
Domestic terrorists.
Domestic terrorists.
These people are not Americans.
Kevin McCarthy was on Fox calling this un-American. Marco Rubio.
I don't know. There's a lot of empty rhetoric. There's a lot of empty concern.
Hawley, I should say, of all people, had the nerve to condemn the violence that we saw today.
Josh Hawley should resign in ignominy. Ted Cruz as well. But honestly, Mitch McConnell too.
Shame on them. Shame on those senators. They sided with domestic terrorists yesterday, and we won't forget it.
This in no way absolves them of the sin and the sins that they and the president have committed against this country.
And if Donald Trump Jr., Rudy Giuliani, and Donald Trump are not arrested today for insurrection and taken to jail and booked.
It was encouraged by our Republican colleagues, and that is why every single one of them, especially because they have been the ones trying to steal this election, that's why we are calling for them to be removed.
But then Trump supporters come in and you open the doors for them.
But back during the summer, not so much.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly.
That ain't a riot, what we're seeing right now in Minneapolis. They are strictly principled anti-fascists, and they've taken a principled stand to stand against white supremacists and white nationalists wherever they may show up.
I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally.
It says it right in the name, Antifa, anti-fascism, which is what they were there fighting. Listen, there's no organization is perfect. There's some violence.
Any reasonable person would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
But thank goodness for the looters, man.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
I don't care that much about statues.
Respectfully, should that be done by a commission or the city council, not a mob in the middle of the night throwing it into the harbor?
People will do what they do.
You're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Do not get it twisted and think that, oh, this is something that has never happened before, and this is so terrible, and where are we, and these savages and all of that. This is how this country was started.
People get mad, and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
Most of the major movements in American history have started at the grassroots level and at some point have turned into direct conflict with American government. So remember your history before you judge your present.
Thuggishness is thuggishness wherever it comes from politically, and we should be the first to call it out.
I disagree.
Can you say double standard?
We have the policies and the program, the Republicans and the conservatives. We have the issues. The Democrats have the rhetoric. Case in point, the Democratic National Convention. Remember last year? It was just doom and gloom. But the Republican National Convention was the American best and brightest. You remember how great it was, all those speakers? My point is simply this. We need to get that message out every day. We have the policy, we have the program, we have the people. And that Republican National Convention was beautiful. It was resonated. It talked about American values. That's the message we have to get out every day of the year.
You are an elected Democrat there in the state of Georgia, as I understand it, but yet you're supporting the Republican president's reelection bid. How is that going over in your district?
Well, obviously, my district knows about me. I've served as county executive. I've run a government. I've done things to move my county forward and the people, serve them well, solid record of accomplishments. But this is not about politics. This is about putting your country before politics, putting your country before the party. President Trump is right on target with results. Prior to the pandemic, he had the best, and you know it, the best economy that we've had going back years and years and years. The Democratic Party chose to put
an economy that even many on the right have acknowledged that he inherited from the previous administration.
Well, that's fake news.
Well, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
If you look at the unemployment among African Americans during his years and during Obama years, clearly it was much better. If you look at opportunity zone districts, if you look at support and financial support to historical colleges, clearly it's better off under his administration than the previous administration. So, I don't want to get caught into politics.
Well,
just because
Jones,
I'm a Democrat, my party feels though that
I like to traffic in facts, and much of what you just said is patently false. But I do want to. Representative Jones, this is my show. I'll ask questions. Give me a second.
Well, you had me on your show,
I know,
let me explain. Don't cut me off when I'm giving an answer.
I'm not cutting you off, but I do want to. Are you a paid campaign surrogate? Are you being compensated?
Let me be clear. You get paid to shape a liberal narrative. You get paid to attack this president. I don't get a dime for this president. I don't get a dime from the campaign. Everything I've done is in me and based on my principles. And see, that's the problem. When an African American that's elected official.
I did not raise your
Let me finish now. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Whoa. You're not going to imply that I asked that question because you're black.
So don't ask me that. You only ask me that because I don't fit your narrative. No, this president never offered anything. I don't want anything from this president. It's what I can do for my country. And you need to accept that many other African Americans and others support this president because of his policies. And to insult me to say, am I getting paid?
I've asked the same question. I have asked the same question
and that's
of
Democrats
who've come on.
MSNBC and their narrative to keep blacks silent who happen to support this president. Why can't I be like white liberals or other whites? Nobody questioned they're getting paid. So I have to get paid. Do you ask Democrats? Do they get paid?
I just said
if you paid by Joe Biden.
I just said to you.
Have you ever asked any host on your show that they've been paid by Joe Biden?
State Representative Vernon Jones. Representative Jones, thank you. Do come back. An open invitation.
You suck.
Thank you.
Jackass.
The minority party gets to select its own witnesses. And of all the people that Republicans could have selected, they picked Candace Owens. I'm gonna let her own words do the talking. So I'm gonna play for you the first 30 seconds of a statement she made about Adolf Hitler.
I agree. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. He was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German.
All right, so my first question is to Ms. Hirschenoff. Ms. Owens said, quote, if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. So when people try to legitimize Adolf Hitler, does that feed into white nationalist ideology?
Sure, even though I was called despicable.
Witness may not refer to a member of the committee as stupid.
I didn't refer to him as stupid. That's not what I said. That's not what I said at all. You didn't listen to what I said.
You suck, you jackass.
May I continue?
Please.
As I said, he is assuming that black people will not go pursue the full 2-hour clip. And he purposefully he cut off, and you didn't hear the question that was asked of me. He's trying to present as if I was launching a defense of Hitler in Germany, when in fact, the question that was asked of me was pertaining to whether or not I believed that whether or not I believed in nationalism, and that nationalism was bad. And what I responded to was that I do not believe that we should be characterizing Hitler as a nationalist. He was a homicidal, psychopathic maniac that killed his own people. A nationalist would not kill their own people. That is exactly what I was referring to in the clip, and he purposely wanted to give you a cut-up similar to what they do to Donald Trump to create a different narrative. That was unbelievably dishonest, and he did not allow me to respond to it, which is worrisome and should tell you a lot about where people are today in terms of trying to drum up narratives. By the way, I would like to also add that I work for Prager University, which is run by an Orthodox Jew, and a single Democrat showed up to the embassy opening in Jerusalem. I sat on a plane for 18 hours to make sure that I was there. I'm deeply offended by the insinuation of revealing that clip without the question that was asked of me.
When I go into a school, I can look at a kid and say, man, he's probably gonna end up in prison. I teach in the prisons. And when I walk into the prisons, I see men who have never had an opportunity to be taught. And these are the same men who are right now in these elementary schools. And we all know where they're gonna end up. We have, if you look at it, you're 20 times more likely to go to prison if you're fatherless. 71% of all the kids that drop out of school, and almost 2.5 million kids dropped out of school last year in America. 2.5 million. 71% of those kids are fatherless. What other population are we supposed to be focusing on? As conservatives, as Democrats, whoever you are, anyone listening, get out of your houses. Go touch an orphan. Get out of your houses. Get out of your bubbles. We can sit up here on these stages in front of millions of Americans and talk to each other all we want to. We can sit up in our pews and praise the Lord all we want to. But the Lord told us to get out there and live our words by the work of our hands.
You cannot do what the Democrats do. Democrats use, abuse, and discard. They show up every 4 years and show people, and then they move on and don't think a thing about it. We have to be a party. We are the party of entrepreneurship. We need to start investing into our communities. We need to go into these communities where it's plus D, 30D, and say we're going to win this in the next 2 cycles because we're going to get the message out. And when the next voice, like a Donald Trump, comes up, we won't just have 18% of black men and a doubling of black women. We'll do so much more than that.
Some people are starting to have buyer's remorse for Biden, which I kind of saw this happening. If you're seeing people, particularly these union workers that had backed Biden, that are a tad bit frustrated, rather disagreeing with the idea, and a lot of it centered around the Keystone Pipeline, and they're criticizing him for it because it's killing, of course, all of these jobs that are, some of these are union jobs, good paying jobs, and they didn't read the fine print. Like the United Association of Union Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, they endorsed Biden for president in August. They said, we're not going to sit on the sidelines at the UA. This endorsement is about putting UA members to work and fighting for fair wages and good benefits under a Biden administration. That's exactly what we'll get. It's coming from Mark Manners, the general president of the United Association, says, let's be real, nobody in the Oval Office will be with us on every single issue, but with his long history of standing shoulder to
That cartoon doesn't really bother me. What bothers me is the hypocrisy behind it. That's what bothers me. That you would portray a black man just because he's in the GOP as a Klansman. That you would portray an American Indian woman, a Native American woman, Olivia Oxendine, who is a Lumbee Indian, and who has had to face the Klan face to face and their egregious actions and has had to fight against them. You would portray her as something that vile. The hypocrisy is mind-numbing, folks. And I'm here to tell you right now, this office is not going to stand by and let it go by. And when I'm not going to go along to get along, I'm going to call them out on every time. Because here it is. What I want to know from WRAL, is that who you are? Is that who you want to represent yourself to be in this state? And again, it's not a private individual. It's not a private Facebook page. That is a newspaper. It sells itself to millions of people across this state that would put something that vile out.
Good evening. I'm Senator Tim Scott from the great state of South Carolina. We just heard President Biden's first address to Congress. Our president seems like a good man. His speech was full of good words, But President Biden promised you a specific kind of leadership. He promised to unite a nation, to lower the temperature, to govern for all Americans, no matter how we voted. This was the pitch. You just heard it again. But our nation is starving for more than empty platitudes. We need policies and progress that brings us closer together. But 3 months in, the actions of the president and his party are pulling us further and further apart.
Now, Jim Crow on steroids is how President Biden has described this new voting law. Does this bear any resemblance to Jim Crow?
David, I am 70 years old. I am the daughter of Reverend Alfred Daniel Williams King, who fought with his brother, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., their dad guiding them, and certainly God guiding them, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Sr. We fought for voter rights. Now, we never denied that you would not need identification when you register to vote or go to vote, that you would need a reliable source that would prove that you are a citizen of the United States. We fought to be recognized and acknowledged as citizens of the United States with the right to vote. That's the Jim Crow laws that we were fighting against. Now that we are citizens, my ID, my right to vote should be valued. I have that today. That is what we were fighting for. Today, now people are saying, those who are calling these actions Jim Crow, you don't need identification, you could live anywhere, you should come from anywhere, you can mail in your votes, all of that. But it takes away what we actually fought for, to be recognized as equally recognized as citizens of these United States, regardless of skin color.
And today, we got to talk about CNN's Don Lemon getting triggered, getting butthurt at Fox News' Tucker Carlson for his talk about the replacement theory. Now, illegal aliens are poured into the country right now, and there does not seem to be a lot of resistance against it. There's a theory out there, and I kind of believe that it's real, that illegal aliens are purposefully let into the country to replace the current electorate for a variety of reasons, but two main ones. For voting power, obviously, because they may vote mostly Democrat, and also for working, for jobs, employment. Okay, those two things right there are incentives to allow illegal aliens into the country, in my humble opinion, and in the opinion of many others.
Well, Lord, thank you for having me on, and thank you for showing a highlight tape of the dumbest people on planet Earth.
You can't figure out how to de-escalate a 16-year-old, even with a kitchen knife. When you've got a gun and you're a grown man, you shouldn't be a cop.
All of these people should be ashamed of themselves coming out lying on this police officer and also lying on that girl.
We just want our kids to have the same opportunity to survive their dumbest mistakes as every other kid has.
These people want there to be hatred and evilness in our country.
Why is deadly force always the first order of business, and especially the first order of business when it comes to black and brown people?
They want police officers to be demonized. They want police officers in the public to have conflict.
Abolishment of this institution that continues to fail tax-paying black people in this country.
They can continue to get reelected.
Their systemic racism is a stain on our nation's soul.
To keep promising the public something they can never deliver on.
Welcome to Open Source News. I am your brother and your host, BCP. Former General Attorney William Barr, who we do not trust and know that he was a cover-upper, covering up, for instance, Hunt's laptop and all those crimes and stuff. Not wanting to be political, but in fact being political and helping Joey.
Brian Stelter. He had former Duke University psychological professor Alan Francis on, and he made this bizarre claim.
Trump is as destructive a person in this century as Hitler, Stalin, and Mao were in the last century. he may be responsible for many more million deaths than they were.
Hey, Dan, sometimes there are technical difficulties and you miss it, but that was a long rant. How do you not qualify that, push back on that?
Brian, listen, man, you've been doing this a long time. You don't really believe that, right? Just to be clear, that was not a technical difficulty. You know how I know it? I haven't been doing this as long as you, but it's been 8 years I've been doing media. Here's how you know. Go to, what's this show called? Unreliable Sources?
No,
Go to their Twitter feed. They can call it Reliable Sources. That's one of the great mysteries of our time, how his show got the title Reliable Sources. I'm going to call it Unreliable Sources, right? Go to their Twitter feed, and you'll see they promoted the clip. They promoted it, like on their Twitter feed. So if you were having a technical difficulty, and this was such an embarrassment for your show, which it was, this abhorrent statement this guy made, which was really horrible, you wouldn't think you'd go out and promote it yet. And watch Stelter's response. Again, this guy's the most unreliable source on TV. Look, watch what he does. He nods his head. He goes, yeah, he's like, this is total nonsense. Besides, Brian, again, as you know, there are producers in your ear. Someone could be talking to me right now. They're not. Right. When something like that happens, they can get in your ear and say, hey, listen, you may want to cut this short. Nobody did that. So if he was having technical problems, somebody heard him because he was still on the air. Why was nobody stopping him short? The reason is Stelter's lying. And one more thing about Stelter, Captain Unreliable Sources. This is the same guy who's been calling out this network and other places. He called out Mark Levin for being a conspiracy theorist, for saying that there was a FISA warrant on Trump. He never apologized for that, Stelter, either. This guy's the lead conspiracy theorist out there, and I'm getting tired of this guy.
Right.
So as a senior pastor, as a bishop, and as an attorney, I have certain core values that I personally have as it relates to this time that we're in. And I realize that I have to make my decisions based on those values. One of those values is very, very important, being a member, literally, of this city here, for born and raised. I recognize that I have to look at the life of those that are unborn, those in the womb. How are we going to protect those in the womb? And I realize even with black babies in the womb, they've been unprotected. And as a result of that, they've been a direct result of genocide, of eugenics as a result. And so if I have to determine who is going to protect babies in the womb, I have to support and I have to endorse President Donald J. Trump.
I am a child who grew up in the steel mill era and jobs left like crazy. And I've watched the city in declination. I've been fortunate enough to be all around the world and to do many things. I've met many politicians, I've met many leaders. I've never met nobody like this guy. I think for number one, it's because he's not a politician. What I've learned over the past 3 to 4 years is bureaucracy isn't as strong as we thought it was. You can get things done in a short period of time. You can make a difference. You can keep your word. And he gets attacked quite a bit, and I get it, I understand. Following behind the things he's followed behind and just done, he says what he feels. We mistake that for racism. But I met him, Bruce, we were together, and I said, let me test this racism. I know I'm black. No, and I say that for a reason. I understand being pulled over by police because my car is nice. I understand some of these woes. I am not a compromising black man. I will never compromise my blackness. I'm proud to be a black man. And I will fight for black people as long as I can. Here's the deal. When I met him, he touched me with strong, I'm Donald J. Trump. He wasn't timid. Then I stood by his daughter, Ivanka, and it was time to pray. And I say, let me test it again. We were holding hands. She reached out for my hand and she said, let's pray. She was pregnant, I'll never forget it. And she held my hand. I say, A racist man's child would never. So I got several reasons why I'm going to support him. And I'm ready to take whatever heat because it can't be hot enough because the furnace is in my favor. I believe in righteousness and justice. I don't believe for fighting for justice alone, there must be righteousness. And I don't believe in fighting for righteousness alone, there must be justice. I believe in the economic ability of this man to accomplish economics for all people, but black people as well. He's proven it. I believe that his record is proven, and if we compare it to 47 years of nothingness, I shouldn't say nothingness, I should say destruction. And if I have to prove a history, I have 3 years of a history that says you got opportunity zones, you have education opportunities, you have prison reform. I believe in police being reformed and not eliminated.
I'm Bishop Wellington Boone, and I fully support and expect Donald J. Trump to be the next president of the United States. By the fact that he is by his fruits, which you have all evidenced by the things you are saying, you'll know them by their fruits. The priorities of Scripture he has made here as the president of the United States. Remember, it says that promotion comes not from the east nor the west, but the south. God lifts one up and takes another down. God made this man president. And then by the fact that he's targeted the inner cities and all of your evidence that he's doing a great job in reaching the inner cities, it shows the favor of God is on the black community. The Bible says not many wise are called, not many noble are called, but I've called the base things of the world to confound the wise. You are a prophetic sign that revival is coming to black America, and God is using this man to do it.
I don't know, and I'm open if someone would tell me. And YouTube Live, Facebook Live, if I've made you so mad that you tuned me out, I don't know of any policy in the 4 years of his reign. Any policy. I said policy. Did you hear me say policy? I don't know of any policy position in the 4 years of his reign that Donald Trump took that you'd have to agree with at the expense of Scripture.
Wait a minute. Give me a second. Let me look around. All right. Okay. All right. Everybody come on in. Come on now. I figured out why the Democrat politicians and the liberal media and sports and entertainment, big tech, and I think just one more out there, corporations. Okay, let me make sure. All right, I'm good. So I figured out why they all despise conservatives. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking it's because they see us as dumb. They see us as, outdated. But these guys right here, they're idiots. They're all one tooth having, riding around with pickup trucks and Confederate flags. Or the black folks are sellouts, Uncle Toms, and all that stuff. Y'all might be thinking that's the problem. But it ain't. Here's the real problem. They hate us because we're smart enough to see through their garbage. That's why they hate us. Nothing worse than somebody being able to read you. Somebody being able to say, I hear what you're saying to all the people. But you do realize that's garbage. My bad, y'all. You know I had to throw just a quick clip of Kev from Kevin's Corner. You think I was going to let them get away with all of them getting a shout out and I didn't get a cameo at least, considering I'm the director of this video? Man, you must be crazy. Now, God bless y'all. God bless America. And we'll see y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. Oh, and by the way, this is part 1 of the League of Intelligent Black Americans right now. That's what we got, the League of Intelligent Black folks. Now, God bless you. God bless America. check out Extreme Tees, my sponsor. The link is below this video. If you click on it and put Kevin in the promo code, you'll get a 20% discount. And finally, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And if you'd like to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, there's links below this video to do that as well. Okay, God bless you and God bless America.